Hey, hi friends. So my name is Miss Jenny. I'm one of the youth librarians here at KDL, and I am joined today by Miss Christine, also one of our librarians. And we're here to share with you some of our favorite books for kids ages like 6 to 10 years old. And this week we're focusing on sports and realistic fiction. So we've got a few titles that we both have loved. All of them have been published like within the last year. They're all pretty new. And we want to share them with you. These are happening, just so you know, every Monday, every other week on Monday nights at 6:30. So the next one is October 26th if you're interested in getting more book recommendations for that age group. So, Miss Christine, we are going to kick it off with picture books. So like good realistic fiction, sports, some realistic fiction, some sports, but for kids like 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, like starting with the young ones, and then we're going to work our way up to more like longer chapter books for kids like all the way up through like 5th grade. Does that sound right?
Yeah, the first one I have for us is actually recommended for ages 4 all the way through 8. But honestly, if it sounds interesting for you, it's a great book. So you should definitely read it no matter what age you are. I certainly am older than 8 and I loved it. But it's called Ballet Ball. And I picked this one up because I thought it was really cool that the title was a mix of ballet and baseball, because I played baseball as a kid, and my sister did ballet. So I thought this one would be a fun one for me to read. And it's about a little girl named Nini. And Nini, like my sister, loves ballet. She loves everything about it. She loves the movements. She loves what she gets to wear while she's doing ballet. But she is really, really sad because ballet class has just ended for the year. So there's no more ballet class to go to after school. But instead, she is about to start baseball. But Nini is not happy about this. Her mom signed her up for baseball, and she thinks that she is going to hate baseball, mainly because it's not ballet. And she has a very bad attitude about it. And she, when she starts, is not really being a team player. She's pretty grumpy. But she has this really nice coach who talks to her kind of about baseball right over here. And he explains to her that ballet and baseball might not be as different as she thinks they are. And it is possible that some of the skills that she's picked up from ballet might actually help her be a really great baseball player. But will Nini be able to change her attitude in time to be there for her team when they need her the most? To find out, you will have to read this book, which is all about teamwork, trying new things, and the power of positive thinking.
I love it. That sounds so good. What a great recommendation. Okay, I'm coming at you with another picture book that has to do with sports. This one's called I Got Next by Daria Peoples-Riley. And I picked this one because I love the illustrations and the message. So throughout this story, you'll see this young man, and he is kind of trying to like pep talk himself and gear himself up for a really big basketball game. So it's hard. I found it to be hard to find picture books about basketball. So if you have a kiddo out there who really likes basketball, this is an excellent choice. But so on each of these pages, there's this young boy, and he's sort of like hearing the voice of this kind of shadowy figure. And it's sort of like his inner monologue, just sort of building him up, giving him confidence, telling him really positive thoughts. So like it says, they might be stronger, faster, quicker, but I'll leave my heart on the court. So just really inspiring messages on these pages. And this author, Daria Peoples-Riley, also wrote this book called This Is It, and very similar style of story, really rhythmic text. And it's about a ballerina, and she's got a shadow figure too, sort of encouraging her, telling her to try her hardest at ballet auditions. So really cool picture books that have to do with sports. And I would say these are good, kind of similar to your book, Miss Christine, like good for a 4-year-old up to like a 10-year-old. Like really anyone would appreciate these books. So what do you got next for us?
All right. I am bumping us up a little bit, and I'm going to tell you all about kind of this early reader book that I have for you. This is actually a chapter book. It has 4 whole chapters. But the thing that I love about it is that even though it has, some more words per page than maybe a typical picture book, it does actually still have these really big, nice illustrations, and it's not too many words per page. It doesn't feel too overwhelming or anything like that. But it is part of the Fergus and Zeke series, and Fergus and Zeke are both mice. Not just any mice, they are classroom mice. They live in Miss Maxwell's classroom, and they are also very clever. They love learning, and they like to participate in class with all the other students. And so when one day Miss Maxwell announces that it's field day, the day when all the students get to go outside and do all sorts of fun activities, Fergus and Zeke don't want to be left out. So they escape from their cages and they go along. But they soon find out that they are kind of a little too small to play with all the other students. So you see them here, they're doing some limbo, but limbo isn't really all that fun when you can just easily walk underneath the pole that you're using. But Fergus and Zeke are not going to let this stop them from having fun. They decide that they're going to use their creativity to find materials that they can kind of turn into their own games made for little beings their size. But when they play too long and accidentally get locked out of the school building, they have to use that creativity to find a way back home to Miss Maxwell's classroom.
That sounds really, really good. I love it. And like you said, we always get questions about some of those books with full color illustrations, and that one sounds like a really good choice. What age would you say that one was for?
I would say probably good to 5 to 8 or so, something like that. But, if you're a little bit younger than that and are maybe still learning to read, you can read it with an adult. And if you're a little bit older than that and it sounds interesting, go for it.
I love it. All right. Well, it sounds like my next book choice is kind of in the same age range as yours. So mine is Jack at Bat. And this is like an early reader book. It's by Mac Barnett and Greg Pizzoli. And you would find these maybe like with like the kindergarten, first grade, second grade kind of books. It's got a similar illustration style to the Elephant and Piggy books. So if your family has read Elephant and Piggy a million times, I would recommend moving on to this series. It's kind of a funny series, and Elephant and Piggy books were also super funny. So it has this underlying thread of like humor. And in this story, there's a big baseball game, the Ladytown Ladies versus the Big City Brats are having a big baseball game. And the main character, Jack, here is the bat boy, and he's called in to pinch hit. So he has to try to pinch hit for the Ladytown Ladies. And he's also addicted to snacks, and he sees some Cracker Jacks out in the crowd, and he just doesn't know if he can make it to home base and hit that home run, or if he needs to just run right toward that concession stand. So it's kind of funny at the end what he decides to do. But you'll see here lots of just a few words per page and kind of really expressive, funny illustrations. So really good for like that kindergarten first grader who wants like a funny new series. I really like these books. What do you got next, Miss Christine?
We're doing great.
There you are. You were.
We made it. Your second try. All right. The next book that I have for you is called Fort Builders Incorporated, The Birthday Castle. And it is about 2 friends, Caleb and Jax, and they get to talking. They both have kind of some toys or some games that they want to buy, but they don't have enough money to buy them yet. So they decide that they're going to start their own business to kind of make some more money to spend. And they decide lemonade stands, they've been done. They're old school. Caleb and Jax want to try something new, and they decide that they are going to build forts for all the other neighborhood children. But they don't really know everything there is to know about building forts, so they decide that they need some help. So they recruit their friends Eddie and Kiara to help them, because Eddie and Kiara both have skills that they think would be really valuable on their team. So when the four of them get their first job, everything seems to go wrong, from bad weather to running out of materials to fighting amongst themselves. Will Caleb, Jax, Eddie, and Kiara be able to work together and finish the project in time? You will have to read the book to find out. But I learned so much from this book about what it's like to own a business. How do you advertise what you're making in your business so that people know that you're doing this? How do you solve problems? How do you kind of manage conflict when maybe your employees or your coworkers or your customers aren't very happy and start arguing? So that was a really cool aspect of this book. But my favorite thing about the book is that in the very back, there are instructions on how to make your own working fort drawbridge. So that's super fun. And for all the parents who are out there listening, this book comes from a publisher that's really cool, because they always include character lists and vocab lists and discussion questions as well. So if you're looking for a way to kind of extend your readers' learning past just reading the story, this is an awesome option for you.
Hey, so I love in the back of your book that you have that like experiment, because mine has that too in the back of my book. I know.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Design and build your own roller coaster using like cardboard and scissors and tape and glue. There's like a fun little instruction. So the book I want to talk about sounds like it's kind of similar to the one you just talked about. It's called Layla and the Bots, Happy Paws. And it's about Layla here. She is a rock star, along with her robot friends that she built because she's also a genius. Beep, Boop, and Bop are her robot friends. And they're really smart and they solve problems. In this story, they need to figure out how to keep the Happy Days amusement park open. So the amusement park hasn't had enough business, and they're about to close their doors to the public. And Layla and her robots need to help. So, kind of a cute story because it has full color illustrations, but also because it has like that theme of the scientific method. So Layla and her robot friends use the scientific method to puzzle out a solution for the Happy Days amusement park. And at the end, they decide to build a doggy and like pet friendly amusement park. And they've got like rides that dogs can go on, and like a machine that like scratches your dog's tummy that like can go for a ride. It's super cute. So if you have a kiddo at home who really likes animals, this might be a good choice for them too. So I highly recommend this one. And then quick before you come back, Miss Christine, another honorable mention. So for my first, second, third grade readers, early chapter book readers, this series exists. I just want to mention it really quick. If you have kids out there who've seen the Babysitters Club books that are in graphic novel form, they've come out, like Raina Telgemeier and other illustrators have re-released these Babysitters Club books. This is a new series. It's Babysitter's Little Sister. So this is Karen. It's Christy's little sister. And it's the story of Karen and her next door neighbor, Hanny, and they're just best friends. And they're going to try to figure out if their neighbor is a witch. So kind of a fun story. But for those young ones who aren't quite ready for those graphic novel Babysitters Club books, maybe like the maturity level and the content is just a little bit below that. I want parents and grownups and caregivers out there to know that this Babysitter's Little Sister series exists. So another good choice for that age group. All right.
Miss Jenny, that also sounds like a really good one for this month, since we have Halloween coming up.
Yes. Their neighbor is a very convincing witch. I think she is a witch, but I'll let you read the book to find out. So.
Oh, I'm definitely adding that one to my to-read list. Next up, there we go. We have The Great Pet Heist. This is a bit of a longer chapter book with some more words per page if you're looking for something that maybe is a little bit more of a challenge, but you still get some fun illustrations every couple pages. And it is about some pets. Their names are Butterbean, the dog, Oscar, the bird, Walt, the cat, and then there are Marco and Polo, the rats. And they all live together. They kind of make up their own little family. And they live on the first floor of a really tall apartment building. And they live with this woman named Mrs. Food. But one day, they start hearing rumors that Mrs. Food might have to move away. She might have to move in with some other humans who are also kind of elderly. And if she has to move to this new place, she won't be able to take her animals with her. And they really, really, really don't want to go back to the shelter. So they decide that they are going to kind of come up with another plan that will allow them to stay and keep living in the apartment, even if Mrs. Food isn't there. But they got to be able to like pay for the apartment and pay for their food and stuff. So they figure they have two options. The first option is to get jobs, but they think that might be a little hard. They don't know any humans who would necessarily hire animals. So their second option is to become independently wealthy, which means that they are rich enough that they don't even have to work. They just have all this money that they can use to pay for their food and all their expenses. So they want to go with that plan, but there's a little bit of a problem, which is that they aren't independently wealthy. They don't really have anything of value. But they know there's this guy, and he lives on the top floor of the apartment building. He's a little scary. And they have reason to suspect that he has all of these coins. You can see them on the cover. And they think that these coins are really rare. They're worth a lot of money. So the pets decide that they are going to pull a heist, and they are going to steal some of these coins to kind of fund their future. But one tiny little thing does not go according to plan, but it kind of ruins everything. And their heist has to turn into a rescue mission. This book has a little bit of danger in there, but it's also just so silly. I love all the characters, and it's really funny to kind of watch them pull off this master plan.
That sounds hilarious. I really like that. I love books where pets are the main characters. Yeah.
Absolutely. For any fans of The Secret Life of Pets out there, I think you'll really like that one.
That sounds really good. Awesome. Okay. So we've worked our way up to longer chapter books. This is another longer chapter book for maybe my 4th, 5th grade friends. It's called Get a Grip, Vivi Cohen by Sarah Capit. And this is a story of Vivi. So she is obsessed with baseball. And specifically, she really is interested in the knuckleball pitch. So she's a pitcher, and she's trying to master the knuckleball pitch, which is kind of like a quirky, really challenging pitch. And she starts writing letters to VJ Capello, who is her favorite Major League Baseball player. So this book is written in that style. It's written 100% in letters of Vivi writing to this Major League Baseball player who actually begins to write back to her, which is so exciting and so awesome. And he kind of helps her. She is the only girl on her baseball team. And she also is a girl with autism. So she has a lot of really special challenges that she faces in this story. And she is just the most lovable, wonderful character. And this author also has autism, Sarah Capit. So she is just a great advocate for neurodiversity. And she just has written a really authentic, wonderful character in Vivi. So it's about her experience with autism, about her experience being the only girl on a team. She gets a concussion, and she has to like convince her parents that she is brave enough and strong enough and recovered to get back onto the team and finish out the season with her teammates and her best friend Alex, who's her catcher. So just a really wonderful story. It was just feel good. I loved it. I can't recommend it enough. Great read here. So what do you think, Miss Christine? Should we end our book recommendations? I know you and I both had like at least 5, 10 more honorable mentions that we wanted to talk about. I know I've got more here. Maybe we can post these in the comments. What do you think?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, for all of you at home, keep in mind that librarians, we really, really like talking about books. So if you ever need any help finding a book, we can help you. We'd love to help you.
Most definitely. Yep. So how about we include all of our honorable mentions and all of the books that we talked about today in a post in our comments. And like you said, reach out to us if you need more recommendations. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Sound good? All right, cool. Bye.